Thank you. Can you, is this on? Okay. I like the special advisor better than the senior advisor. You think I was one of those senior people in there? It could be one. Well, this is, I kind of got the envious task and the difficult task of taking all this great material and then trying to put it all together so that maybe you leave here with the message that ChemADVISOR is really trying to deliver. So, to you, not only about ChemADVISOR, but about HSE issues across the globe. So I'm going to ask you, and it's somewhat rhetorical, but I will not tell anyone that they can't answer. Why the heck did you come here in the first place? Why are you here? Why did you come? And it better not be to work. Because they couldn't have been all that good. Well, the food wasn't bad. All right. So you thought about it, all right? Why did you come? Maybe the simple answer is I wanted to get some more information. I wanted to be a better professional. All right, but you have a lot of responsibility. I'm not going to put down anyone's job, but you're not the guy looking at your pass, walking through the door every day. All right, this security is important to your company. All right, but you have a responsibility to your corporation in the function that you perform. Right? And I think if I were to quiz you, maybe what do you think you're most important? I'm going to just shout it out so that way I won't point fingers if it's right or wrong. What do you think your most important function is at your job as an HSE professional? What is your most important function? Compliance, I like that one. Compliance is good. I'm going to get to that one. That's a good one. Compliance do it?
Governance.
Okay?
Governance.
Governance. There we are. My golly, you guys are getting all the right ones. There we are. Now we're talking about important matters. Okay. Well, we all look to, as professionals, and I don't care if it's EHS or what we are, we want more knowledge. We're scientists, technical people. We want more knowledge. I want to know what that endpoint is. I want to know where to get it. I want to know where it goes on a document. I want to know that reg and how it applies to my product. I'm going to suggest that what I hope you heard today was somewhat of a different message. You notice, although there was a lot of very good technical information on what you received, I hope what you really heard was that you have a bigger responsibility of seeing the bigger picture, of setting policy, setting direction, making choices. I mean, what did you hear from Wolf? You have to have policies, you have to see the big picture. So before you can worry about the nut in the bolt, before you can worry about whether or not you know the regulation, you have to really help your company understand what the bigger picture is. So I'm going to try and put all this into some perspective. Now, I made a lot of notes. I was not writing a thesis over there. I was actually making notes on what some of the people said here. I can see my voice changes when I would count, so I'll hold the paper up. So who reads the Fed Register every day? That is a great read. All right, if you read it at night, it helps insomnia, I can tell you that. All right, well, that's a big response. Who reads the Canadian Gazette? Who reads the Straits Times or China Daily? Those are newspapers. All right, it's the sort of thing is, we don't all have the time to do that. We say, I'll get to it. And remember the old days, it used to come in paper, and they'd sit in the corner of your desk, you had a file, a Federal Register file like this, and you move over here because you thought if you moved it to the left-hand side of your desk, you'd read it. But you didn't. So now it comes electronically. Do you read it any more than you did the day before? Probably not. But there's stuff in there that affects how you conduct your business. That's not a nut and a bolt, that's a big picture thing, because somebody's got to read it. And if somebody doesn't read it, how are you going to know the information that's in there? How are you going to know what's going on in China? How do you get that information? Those are things you need to think about, all right? And a lot of the other things that people put together. I'm going to give you some quizzes, too, along the way. Because I want to see if you were paying attention to the things that were being said before. You didn't give me that clicker. I can't do my presentation unless we have the whole thing. Click it one more time. There it is. There we are. Questions we ask ourselves all the time. If you're the one-man HSC department does it all, I think we had some hands that said, besides cleaning the toilet, I think there were some people shoveling the walk, if I saw some of the hands up there before. All right, you'll ask you, how can I do all this myself? My goodness gracious, it's just not a fair expectation, right? And you know, you're way late and I saw, gee, it just, notifications, and should I get some help? No, oh, I can't get some help, I'm showing weak, I don't know what I'm doing, you know, so you know, I can't do that. And you start thinking, well, maybe if I could just make some sense out of all this stuff, if I just saw what the pieces were, maybe I could break it all down, I'd feel all right. We all rationalize some things, everything else, so, well, I mean, what's the really important issues here? You know, what's really important, what I have to do, and geez, if I just could concentrate on the issues, oh, but, oh, it's that stuff, I don't have to go back and forth. So we're gonna talk about all these things, and is there a right answer? Well, I'm gonna tell you the answer, no, there isn't. You know, because no two companies are alike, no two situations. But I'm going to try and take some of the stuff that we talked about today. So I'm going to repeat some of the stuff that was said because I think those are things we need to take home. Those are things we need to think about as we're moving forward in our careers, in our responsibilities, in helping our companies comply, and taking a look at their governance, their stewardship responsibilities. Because it's not always just about the nut and the bolt. It's about the big picture, because are we always going to be 100% compliant? No way in heck. I mean, you know, but you're going to give it your best shot, right? So you better be sure you got the nuts and the bolts and the big picture. Simple things, we've touched on some of these things already, as far as can you do it yourself? Resources come in a lot of, you know, flavors. They come from, you know, is my office big enough, and you know, does the cheapskate boss even ever allow me to go to training every now and again and learn something, talk with my colleagues and find out whether or not my understandings are what I think they should be? Are they correct? We all have to deal with time. If there's anything that keeps us awake at night, I know what I got to do, I think I got it in front of me, but I don't have the time. But you know, what are the things that influences your ability, your time at work? It's keeping up on it. It's conflicts. What kind of conflicts? Wouldn't it be nice if I didn't have to clean the toilet, or if I didn't have to answer the phone, or I didn't have to deal with colleagues, or Mary's sick, or Susie's sick, so my kids are sick. But those are conflicts. You know, you have professional conflicts. Depending on how, you know, your business or your department is structured, you have those conflicts. They're real things that affect your time. Particularly if you're just one person, you got two people, you can blame it on the other person. All right? We got to look at priorities. Today's priority isn't the same one as yesterday's. Huh? Don't you just love it? Product's going out the door, we just reformulated this bad boy, give me an MSDS, and I want it tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. And I don't give a darn what it takes to get it done. No priority. Dang, I thought that registration was going to get finished today. Didn't get finished, did it? No, no priority. And deadlines. Deadlines are just another way of talking about priorities. With some deadlines, we get to choose. Some deadlines, we don't get to choose. We saw lots of dates, right? Lots of dates, and no one's asking you whether or not you think those are good dates. You don't say, well, that vacation you planned, sorry about that. Those are real. So there's deadlines that you can change because your priority changed or you have a conflict. And there's deadlines you just can't. And those are real. And one's just as real as the other. You know, talk a little bit about your resources of personnel. Personnel is, you know, standing in a seat. Personnel is a person qualified to do the work that needs to be done. You know, it's nice that I got Ed over there, but he, you know, his responsibilities don't have anything to do with EH&S. They just gave them to me. He's really not a whole lot of help helping me get that safety data sheet written. All right, now you can train him. How do you get him trained? He's going to be a resource. He's going to be someone to you. If he gets out, if he learns, if you teach him, but that's a conflict. That's a priority. Where is that help? Now, is it in your office? Is it local? Is it in Germany? Is it in Eldagar? You know, is it someplace where you can readily access it? You have a way to leverage that resource? Because structure and companies can really, really change how you work and the resources that are available to do your work. Same thing with conflicts of personnel. I could go into that in great depth because I know we all get along with our coworkers. That's a type of conflict, and those are real. But oftentimes it's conflict because I got my deadlines, and you got your deadlines, and you got your deadlines, and really, the fact that that's gotta get done over there is not my problem. You know, not that anyone's not doing their job, but is the big picture being looked at, there's conflicts. And I've already talked a little bit about knowledge. A lot about whether or not you can do it yourself has to do with what needs to be done. Now, I can write a safety data sheet, and I can do that better than anyone. I can do it overnight if I have to. All right? But is it something I haven't done before? I know about these registration things, but I'll tell you, get the piece of software on your desktop, you get it on your computer to allow you to access something to do a registration. You know, we go from the EPA, we can go to Euclid, we can go to EU, ECA. That might take a week, if you're lucky, depending on what your ID department is. Like, we're lucky, we have a great ID, so we can get all that stuff on our desktops. But, you know, those things also are time and criteria based as well. You know, so you really gotta watch that software. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but son of a gun, you know, at the end of the day, some of the biggest hurdles you'll have in regulations is dealing with the fact that it's an electronic age. Where's EPA going? All electronic, let's go, right? And it's, you know, EU's already there. So it's a reality of dealing with that, but some of us are better at that than others. If it's a notification, there are no two notifications you've seen, you saw the presentation say they even remotely the same. You know, never was there anything that took the same amount of information requirement and managed to manipulate it in such a way as to confuse the person trying to do the job, and it's trying to do notification. I got an LD50 that you know, it's the same LD50 for everyone, for an endpoint, but where in God's name does it go on that form? And how do I get it in there can be as baffling as anything else. You could take 2 days trying to figure out where to put your company name and identity on there, but you're not quite sure what they mean by that. All those come into the fact is, you know, do you truly have the knowledge for that particular function that needs to be done? And what is the price? What is the conflict you're willing to pay to get that done? Could you learn it? Well, people learn it. You can learn it, right? Oftentimes, no matter how much knowledge you have, the simple fact is, if you don't have an in-country representative, you kind of out of luck. Right? Back to the big picture. Don't wait for the company to say, hey, we got to go to China to try and figure out if I need somebody there, or hey, we got to do something here if I need only. And those are big. That's big picture thinking. Being a partner. I think Wolfgang pointed out right. You got to be all these partners, and they're all your friends. They all influence your paycheck at the end of the day because you all needed to be a success as a company. That's the name of the game. And can you do a safety data sheet? I'll bet you 80% of you here could write a safety data sheet in English. You get away with it and get it passed right now in the United States. I would bet 20% of you could do one in Chinese, because I see some Chinese people, you could probably get away with it. And that's no, you know, that you don't speak the language, and you couldn't prove it, and you may not have the means to do it. You may have software, you may have tools, and if you do, that's great. But oftentimes, depending on your infrastructure, even though you have the knowledge, even though you have the ability, you just don't have the language capability. Those are all very real. In your company, oftentimes, you don't get to choose if your company decided, you know, to go to Italy next year, or tomorrow, or next week. What's the big picture look like? Those all influence whether you can do it yourself. Every one of those things is learnable. Every one of those things to learn comes at a price. So, you know, the next logical question obviously is, should I get help? Goes back to timing. If I've got the knowledge and I've got the tools, very simply, you know, does it fit? Do I have other conflicts? Do I have the knowledge? Do I have the person? Kind of simple, kind of straightforward stuff. But I'm going to harp on the second one a bit. I think you heard that in a number of the presentations today. I use the word infrastructure. You can call it procedures. You can call it IT. You can call it whatever you want. But I suggest to you that no regulatory effort. It just involves what you did today to meet the deadline. And that means I registered the thing, I'm done. I put the safety data sheet together, I'm done. No, you've got to keep it up to date. You've got to re-register. You've got to watch tonnage level. You've got to watch tonnage bands. You've got to watch a change in regulation. There's a new SNR. There's a new SDHC. The job's not done. Do you have an infrastructure to take that work on and do the whole job to ensure compliance for your company? That's not daunting, but there's tools that help you do this, but those are things you need to think about. Yeah, I can do that. I can put that stuff in the blank. But do you really understand the bigger picture? As we painted that picture today, you begin to see there's a lot there. I think for most of you, you probably understand that anyway. Which kind of also within the company is whose responsibility. I know you probably don't have those. I worked at a large corporation, so we always had these problems, even though we had central agencies. Whose responsibility? And I'm not going to get that body information. I'm not going to get that. That's not my responsibility. That's manufacturing. If they don't have marketing, if they don't tell me, it's too bad. You're the agency department. You're the one that have to make sure that there's a process and a procedure, a way to ensure that on January 1st, June, whatever it is, on that date, when that ban comes up, when that anniversary comes up, that information is available, and or you know where or how to get it, or that Ed is the guy, and Ed raised his hand and said, yep, that's me. Other than that, that's a pretty slippery slope to walk on. And talked on knowledge before, this goes back to getting help. Yeah, I know that, Ray. I understand it pretty well. I think I can work my way through it. But again, you gotta pay the cost. But wouldn't it be perhaps easier to get it? And help comes from a lot of places, but certainly one of the choices is a service provider. And I'm going to get to that part, by the way, if you haven't figured that out. And probably, what's the biggest killer? And this is a question. If nobody answers this, you're silent, and we can go home. All right. What's the biggest killer in managing your infrastructure, managing your information? What's the biggest killer? Clue? There it is. Got it already. I said Wolfgang told you, I think 2 or 3 times already. Everybody hear that? Change. Okay. Because you can't control that marketing guy. You think you can. This is good for you, the purchasing guy that just got the deal of a lifetime, and oh my God, stuff comes in, it's not, it's gone, it's not certified, it's got impurities, it doesn't work, it just plain simple doesn't work. You can't, so change. If you just walked away from here and didn't do anything else in the rest of your HSE career, if you just put the procedure in place to maintain the status quo on whatever it is that you're doing, and you got change under control, you're probably doing a pretty good job. New stuff, yeah, that gets right up front. We're all excited. We got a new product. We're going to get it all done. And heck with all that other stuff. That's just a lot of work. Who cares? That's the stuff that'll get you. I'm not bragging about it, but I certainly got to know a lot of people at EPA and in the EU competent authorities. On a first name basis with the regulations are changing. Gosh darn, marketing, salespeople are changing the products. They're shipping more than they were. How do I keep track of all that? These existing product regs. REACH is here to stay. REACH is here to stay in the EU and across the globe, and there'll be more. It kind of takes a lot of the newness out and kind of casts things back to their existing products, all come back into play oftentimes as well. That's an important piece, but doable. Doable. You just got to put this stuff away, but a very important piece. And this is one that pushes my button, and probably pushes all our buttons, some more favorably than others, is IT data management. Very important piece. Whether you believe in computers, you like IT people, or you educate all your people to educate them in the computer, you really want one, that's what makes us all more efficient. Makes us all more effective. You say, well, I've got a computer all day and run the thing. That's how we do a lot of what we do. All right, you get it. Where is it? It isn't also awful to go and get it if you just knew where it was. You know, not all of us are fortunate enough to have single enterprise in our company. And in fact, probably most of us aren't. All right, so therefore you got to know where it is. And how is it going to be managed? How is it managed? How does it get in there? Who maintains it? I don't know, it used to be back in the old days, I remember the Sarah reports, I think we had the Sarah dartboard in the back corner, every spring we'd go and throw a few darts at the board and say, okay, this is a Sarah report. Not that we didn't have the information, we didn't know how to get it. We made it, we sold the products, we bought the raw material, we just couldn't get it. It was in there someplace. Well, certainly when it gets to chemical control and things like reach and those, that's not going to cut it. We're going to be able to find out all of these things and how reliable it is. All right, because they're not going to come back to Joe in charge of production and say, boy, you got a really crappy system here, Joe. You missed by 5,000 kilos. No, they're going to come back to the ABC department, people that have the responsibility to make sure that everything works. I'm going to repeat a bit here. I'll go a little bit quicker because you heard all this, but I'm going to try and cast it a little bit differently. Global SDSs are huge. If you're running a business, you're selling products in multiple markets, the cost of creating, maintaining safety data sheets is a real part of your company's business, part of your company's infrastructure. And certainly the timing of these regulations, and maybe timing for product introduction, timing because we just bought another company, all sorts of timing issues along with deadlines are real. If you think it's easy to convert a document, I got news for you. It's not. Touch a document, I don't care what document it is. Touch a document, and you're going to find things you never knew were there before, particularly if you haven't touched that MSDS in the last 5 to 10 years. Classification. Oh, we know what this stuff is. Great stuff. It's not a problem. We've only got a label on it. It's not hazardous. It's not an issue. I can tell you, I sat in front of, I wasn't sure how long I got to sit in front of them, telling them that the product is now hazardous. And it's going to Crossbones. It's really going to make that consumer product look real good for them. It's a coming. It's real. All right? And those are business, those are regulatory issues that you as a professional are going to have to learn how to do. All right? It's a very important part of that whole timing thing. Because you got to get to a place where there's classification on that safety data sheet that goes on a label, that goes on a product. You got to get there. And that comes from your knowledge, that comes from your management of issues, and how well you communicate and manage the information. Thank God Janet's self-translation. We pretty much like to see that. All right? How hard can it be? My favorite, and I know it's probably in your head, and this is not the platform man from Montreal or Toronto anymore, but certainly French and Canadian French aren't the same. And just pick an SDS and put in front of either one of the countries, and they'll let you know that's not how that goes. That's not the same. And we go on, but this is one of my favorite parts. We all have a great time, sit around, drink a beer, and talk about all our great stories on translations of how I can't believe they put that word in that safety data sheet and I didn't know it. And it's just ludicrous, like the product is a goat, and you have no idea how the word goat got in there, but it got in there. And the person who wrote that, they were serious about it. They were pulling your leg, and we've often wondered if they were, but we're pretty sure they just thought that's the way it was. Those are real issues. Those are issues that take time, they cost money, and they can hurt your credibility. You have global reporting. I think it's a parallel. Maybe it's not as good a parallel as it used to be, but I'm going to use it anyway. And certainly a lot of emerging economies. How many households do you think ever had or still have a landline or a household? None. 1% or less. Why it wasn't needed. It wasn't within the infrastructure. Cell phones right out of the gate. I could go on to, they wouldn't know a VCR from a home, well, but they don't need bad enough, gosh darn it, they changed the regulations from, HASCOM to GHS, and I got to do all that. Well, how about, gosh darn it, we didn't have to have an MSDS in that country, and now they got one. The good news is it's GHS, the bad news is it's GHS. But you're seeing that the harmonization, the globalization of product and in the sale and use of products has brought out, some of the flavors that weren't on the table before. And we're having to comply in more places than we did before. We do notifications. You've seen that. I've talked a little bit about that before. I won't take too much time on that. When we got back down to the formats and format and everything else. Yeah, I think I finally figured out the CDX here with CS from the EPA, but I'm just not going to get that. I'm just not going to figure out what it is I need to put in that. So, but those are real, and they're changing, they're dynamic, we're always looking for the next tidbit of information. Registrations, very real, and I use those distinctions. Sometimes they do cross, we've talked about that before, but the real is it's another dynamic. That it's just important in the regulated community that you register, that you notify, because if you don't, maybe the regulator cares a little bit, but your company cares if you lost an advantage if you can no longer report your company. It's a real good thing to find out more like it will. So registrations, I think, are more and more a reality. I mean, EU has set the way, like it or not, they're set the way for a lot of way regulations are going to work. All right? Talk about classifications, but others. You're not just done. It may not be your responsibility. That's kind of a good news. You don't have to worry about that. There's other regulations besides, get my registration, my chemical control, my HASCOP, my labels all done. I'm going to talk a little bit more about transportation. There's a lot more in there as well, You're going to do business in a lot of countries. Japan's still my favorite PR country. You're going to have to understand what your responsibilities are around it. They usually go hand in hand a lot of time with imported products and with safety data sheets. That's how they know the stuff's in there. And they're going to want their reports. Are you aware of what those sort of requirements are? Back to the information and issues. And there is, particularly in some of my favorite countries, China seems to be one of my favorite ones. They've done this for just about every Korea, so in the sense that, it's toxic, extremely hazardous, dangerous, prohibited, extremely prohibited, and Tuesday. I mean, all sorts of, you really have to know what they mean. I mean, and so it's nice that the software from the safety data sheet programs sticks and is subject to that list on your safety data sheet, but you're the guy over here that has to be sure that there's a way in which to comply with that to make sure that there's notifications on it that's needed, that an application registration is done by yearly reporting, whatever the case might be, because you're on one of these lists. And that's something. Wouldn't it be nice if you just do it all already? Right? That'd be a good start, right? It's going to change anyway, you know it. Make sure as you live, it's changing right now. The main thing is understanding the regulation. Do you understand? So it's not just about, okay, I know where you get the list, I know look it up, I know this, but you really understand what it's really trying to do, what it's about. How to comply, not who to comply. That helps you manage the fact that new regulations, because it's very important to know where they came from and where they're going, because sometimes you don't have to much different. Sometimes, well, it's back, but it did change. But at least you understand where you were and where you're going. And most of the time, you just deal with incremental changes within a regulatory regime. If you truly understand the regs, you're in a much better position to apply and manage your responsibility. You're not going to do any of it without reliable information. You're not going to do any of it without reliable regulatory information. Doesn't matter where you get it. Some are better than others. I can make a suggestion as well. But you're going to need lists. A lot of this stuff is how are you going to know that you're on the the toxic list in Korea? You have to look it up. I don't know if you got better remember your name. You're going to have to look it up. You're going to have a way to find it. And wouldn't it be nice to know that 10 chemicals regulated 7 different ways, 4 different countries, and 3 of those are cut ones substance identity topic all on its own. The only reason I bring that up is because that does come back to us. We're the ones of the rules. You know, put that notice together and say, yeah, we're sure it's this stuff on here. It's this stuff all right. You know, and it was, and I've done it. So I'm a mistake. I've got to the side and say, whoops, it's almost this stuff. It's not good. You know, one of the most important things you can do in this whole regulatory world is be sure you really understand, you know, that you got the stuff that you're saying that you got, that you registered, that you reported, that you notified, that you created, that you attached. It's one heck of a lot of time and counts. So, Jimmy knows, depending on your business, I'm glad I don't do that, never got involved in polymers. God bless, it's a bunch of you that do polymers. And petroleum industry is another one. I don't know how any of you figure all that stuff out. That's a complicated business. And I'm going to tell you my opinion, whether it's within your company, whether it's company to company, whether it's a trade association, or whether it's a reliable partner in which you have a contract, you pay them money, and they provide a service for you, you're going to need a reliable partner. I don't care how many people you've got, you can't do it all, you cannot get it all done. You can't do it. So you have to pick and choose. So maybe you're in a position to make that decision, maybe not all that relevant at the end of the day, but you're going to need help. You're going to need good IT. So a reliable partner might be your IT department. Okay? A reliable partner might be the fact that you've get some on-loan people from another business unit that you can borrow from time to time when you need some help, but you're going to need partners. So when you put all that together, is there a right solution? And if we had a fight song, Andy, I think this would be a good time to bring it up. But we don't have one here. But there really isn't. I'd like to tell you that I think ChemADVISOR is the right solution for you. I don't know your business. I don't know your business. But certainly when you do need help, I think there's a lot of ways we can help you. We try to do that throughout the day, telling you, giving you knowledge, but also showing ways in which ChemADVISOR can help you. But there certainly isn't any one answer because businesses are different, needs are different. Your timing's not the same. Everyone has different resources, whether it be knowledge, whether it be personnel, and you have different expertise. What if we have to be the experts in everything? I wouldn't know how to do a waste manifest out of that. And I know what they are, but I couldn't do it. We have to understand what our capabilities and the things that we know are. Do you have all that you need? You say yes, I want to work with you. All right. We never have enough. Problems never go away. It just keeps coming. And the way to get what you need is to back in that partnership. And you know where to find solutions. And one of the ways to help that is to get a good partner, to look for solutions, and develop some of those solutions before you have the problem. Because oftentimes, because we have deadlines, it's a little late when it gets down to that deadline issue to find that first capacity, to find that help. So it's going down to a credible, reliable partner. What I've been talking about in the last 2 or 3 slides. Do they have the experts for what it is that you're looking for? They may be the most reliable company in the world, but if they don't have what you need, that doesn't really do a whole lot of good. So do they have the experts? Do they have people that can read the regulations in the country and the languages in which it's published? All right? Do they have contacts on the ground in the countries where you need to do business, where you have these shore of problems? Do they have the experience? Have they walked the road you haven't walked yet? Sometimes maybe you only got to walk the road once or twice, but then you kind of say, I think I got it. I think I got it. I can do this. All right? But wouldn't it be nice to learn that for someone's already been there? Not, okay, yeah, let's go down. We're going to figure this out. We'll get it about 50%, right? When we do another 6, 8 times, we'll probably do all right. We'll get like a few lumps along the way, but we'll get it figured out. How about doing it once or twice with an expert, someone who really knows, and maybe the third one's yours. Maybe the third one's the time. It would be nice to know there was that expert there. You had that at your disposal. Again, go back to being able to deliver on time. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you work, sometimes the deadline just beats you. You just can't get that. And wouldn't it be nice to have someone who said to you, I will get it done. I will get it done on that date. I will get it done for you at this cost. And that's what they will do. I'm not going to sustainable. That wouldn't be sustainable. Like it. So amount of time and you'll know what it'll cost. It's nice to know that. It's what you're probably oftentimes your businesses expect of you. All right? Don't come out expecting anything different from anybody else. There it goes. Lights on and move on. Light. All right. But how can we help? I think we've demonstrated, a lot of you are, certainly our current customers, you've seen what we've been able to do, but we've demonstrated an ability to identify regulatory requirements. You're not going to find a company more people that do that very, very interesting job of reading those federal registers and reading those Canadian Gazette and reading the information so they can keep the information current. And the knowledge they absorb while they're keeping that information is invaluable. Something you could not possibly, the collective knowledge is greater than anything any one person would be able to collect. All right. They solve problems. You saw the extent of our product. Andy explaining it to, seeing what we deal with translations and just how complex just putting a simple thing as a GHS document together. Those are complex problems. You do it day in, you do it day out. We're experienced with that. And because we don't all do it perfectly, we actually have a fair amount of experience with the government. Still a very positive aspect, and certainly when there's problems that can help you there too. We have relationships in places oftentimes that can be very difficult or impossible for you to develop that. And in strategy development. That goes back to the big picture thing I said. It may be that at the end of the day, the only real value that we've added to you is to help you see the big picture, to help you understand what it is you need to do, and that our role as ChemADVISOR is much smaller than maybe it looked at the beginning. All right, we'll live with it. Tomorrow will come. All right? But knowing where to go, how to get there, how you're going to do it, is just as valuable as having someone do the work. Ever have any problem with CBI? Dang it, they won't come. How can they not tell me? You don't have to know. But I need to know. I think it's pretty common. I've used ChemADVISOR as a service many times for lots of reasons, but certainly one of the most valuable things that any third party can do for you. ChemADVISOR certainly has a lot of experiences. Acting as that person, I think it was mentioned by Jen, I know it was mentioned by Wolfgang, is that third party, someone who can tell you to tell them. All right? And it really is a very useful thing. It helps you handle your CBM information. You can even get safety data sheets written on stuff you don't even know what it is and get compliance with that third party help. We have a lot of experience in researching country-specific regulations. We like 40-something of our GCRs already available, fully researched, ready to go. We have more regulation, countries and regulations. It just isn't a big need, so we don't create the documents. But there's a tremendous amount of knowledge that we've got these put to paper. But all the people involved in compliance at ChemADVISOR are very experienced. Reading regulation, understanding regulation, and understanding how the regulation in that country works. And if you think that it's saying there are all kinds of knowledge. I would say if you want to understand how to comply in the country, you got to understand the legal system and the social system. Then you can read the regulations a little bit, right? All right. And it's nice to have people that speak the language, are used to reading those regulations in those countries, and understand what they do. You can read the projects. I'm not just bragging here. We've done it. Actually, it's taken up a couple pages. This is abbreviated. But you see countries maybe a little off the radar. Maybe that's just the only places you ever need help. It's just those places that are a little more off the day-to-day radar. And we demonstrated that with not only the current product, you saw where we're going, you saw the things that we've already developed in 2013, we're looking to include 2014. We're not sitting on our hands. All right, we're expanding the products that we have. We're expanding our knowledge. We're bringing in more people, then you said, that help us better provide our service, whether it be through IT and the things that we can get to leverage the knowledge that we have to put it in our hands in a better way. I can't wait for my email to check on my phone. That's great. I usually use my phone for the rest of it. All right, so we have a very large number of pieces of information that you can learn to do your job. We have a lot of language fluency, 25 different languages fluent. We have a And certainly, by nature of the business that we're in, we have a lot of relationships with translation. So you need something translated, whether it be a document, whether it be a phrase or stuff, we can help you get it to you. And sometimes, you just save so much time. It's at least, we use that person in the area to see, that did, so to speak, don't know what to do, I can really help you. Final slide, I think this will be a question mark. What's the purpose of all that we do here at the end of the day? Is eventually, at the end of the line, someone's going to stick a car in a box, put it on a truck, put it on a train, put it on a boat. Right? Put it in a car, where they're going to move from point A to point B, because people just come to a factory to pick up a product. All right? So you've got to be sure you understand the transportation, right? Whether it be you or your company is not important. That's something that we have a lot of expertise. We have a database that can help with that. I found it invaluable, and how it's structured, and how easy it is. Yeah, we can get that big book out, and then we'll come down and find all that stuff, and then you got to go to the next page, and you got to do it 10 minutes, and you got to go through. If I got to do it, I got to buy blower, I got to do that now. Wouldn't it be nice just to have all right there? Very helpful. And certainly classification. Don't write a sheet without knowing the classification. Don't write a safety data sheet without getting the classification. We've got a lot of people that are experienced in doing that, and maybe that's all you need to do. So we think we can help. We hope today, from the excellent presentations, I just have to awe by looking at the quantity and the quality of information that was presented today, both in fact and in concept that you were able to see today. And to sum that all up, and to hopefully allow you to leave with just, maybe a little bit different look at your job, maybe with some, tidbits, some pieces of information that you didn't have before you came in. And hopefully you'll left with the fact that there is someone who can help you if you need it. If you don't need it, well, that's what you're at. I'll find out that. But if you do, there's someone here that can help you do that. You pull one of these slides, Nathan. Right. We have experience. I've said that. There's the numbers. Training. It goes back to the kind of all this stuff, the big picture sort of stuff. How you're going to keep up to date. Training going on. How you're going to get that capacity. How you're going to get that resource. Because sometimes you need to get more people involved in the process. And boy, this is the complexities of this. And training people and allowing them to access that. And once using the technology that we have at ChemADVISOR, you can look at it online, you can get on video, get on YouTube, and if you really need a lot of detail, we offer a lot of stuff right here in Pittsburgh. Oftentimes, we'll come to your house and we'll do some remote and we'll do some just in the morning as well. So we provide training for you. It's okay. We really do thank you on behalf of my colleagues, on behalf of ChemADVISOR. I know Nathan's probably going to want to step up here anyway. Thanks so much for coming. Thanks. I was looking. I only saw one person kind of close one eye, so that's not too bad. I appreciate that. Thanks for coming.
I'd like to repeat that. Thank you, everyone, for coming. This is the end of our planned program for today. However, ChemADVISOR employees will be available afterwards if you'd like